Canadian government official is warning we may be on the verge of intergalactic war, saying, quote, the Bush administration has finally agreed to let the military build a forward base on the moon, which will put them in a better position to keep track of the comings and goings of visitors from space, and to shoot at them if they so decide.
I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun, in the U.S. the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space, because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies, he said, against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system, the first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids. And then he would repeat to me over and over, and the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat.
Pardon me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but doesn't this make sense? I mean, if in fact there are extraterrestrials and they're buzzing our planet, why wouldn't we want to take steps to defend ourselves from them?
The rapture is one of the most controversial topics in all of theology. Some Christians believe in it, all atheists mock it, and the New World Order may very well attempt to fake it. What would discourage Christians more than seeing New Agers, Buddhists, cult leaders, and corrupt con artist Christians raptured, while the Bible-believing faithful are, in essence, left behind? Why wouldn't the New World Order attempt to unite all the world's religions behind one deity by including them all in such an apocalyptic event? Surprisingly, the U.S. government actually admits to thinking about the use of this technology, though it denies it's followed through with such implementation. In an article entitled Bees on the Battlefield and Other U.S. Military Experiments, published by the British news agency The Guardian on June 18, 2007, it discusses strange government projects, and I quote, "Then there's the prophet hologram, the projection of the image of an ancient god over an enemy capital, whose public communications have been seized and used against it in a massive psychological operation. An Israeli cybernetics expert named Yitzhak Hayutman has even gone as far as to lobby the Arab world to allow him to project a holographic temple above the Dome of the Rock in an effort to summon whichever savior should take notice of it and actually show up. But does it even matter? Does this technology even exist? Or is it just crazy conspiracy theory?" Let's take a look at the Army Research Lab, Adelphi, Maryland's progress report from November 96 through August 97. The session number ADA 3338490. The topic? A 3D holographic display using strontium barium niobate. Its abstract states, an innovative technique for generating a three-dimensional holographic display using strontium barium niobate is discussed. The resultant image is a hologram that can be viewed in real time over a wide perspective or field of view. The holographic image is free from system-induced aberrations and has a uniform high quality over the entire field of view. Interesting. Well, we've seen the chemtrails, and there's a lot of speculation about what they're being used for. Weather control and mind control are at the top of the list. But as you'll see in a second, chemtrails have been directly linked to barium, which is one of the main components of the Army's 3D holography display.
Could a strange substance found by a southwest Arkansas man be part of a government test? Well, that's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails, now getting widespread attention. Well, tonight, KSLA News 12 investigation reporter Jeff Farrell shows us the results of testing we had done about what's in our skies.
It seemed like some mornings it was just crisscrossing the whole sky. It was just like a giant checkerboard.
Bill Nichols snapped several photos of the strange clouds from his home in Stamps, Arkansas. They begin as normal contrails from a jet engine, but do not fade away like a normal contrail. Soon after, he saw particles in the air.
You know, because we'd see it drop to the ground in a haze.
Nichols then noticed the material collecting on the ground.
This is water and stuff that I collected in bowls. I had it set out in my backyard on my dad's pickup truck.
KSLA News 12 had the sample tested at a lab. The results? A high level of barium, 6.8 parts per million, more than 3 times the toxic level set by the EPA.
According to Section 5.6 of a military research paper entitled An Operational Analysis for Air Force 2025, an application of value-focused thinking to future air and space capabilities, military brainstorming as of May 1996 was researching, constructing, yet again, another holographic projection system. This time they were looking to implement an airborne holographic projector that would display a three-dimensional visual image in a desired location removed from the display generator. The projector can be used for psychological operations and strategic perception management. It is also useful for optical deception. The picture you see here speaks for itself. This isn't depicted as a ground-based weapon, but rather one that would project a deceptive image hologram in the air. Could the chemtrails play a role in this? I'm no scientist, so I can't tell you absolutely yes or even maybe. But the chemical connection, barium, along with the military's own documents, lead me to think in that direction. But if they've got some kind of crazy projection system, that in and of itself isn't going to convince anyone of anything. Unless, of course, God is a mute and he's going to come in complete silence. Let's face it, even the most action-packed movies are boring without some kind of a stunning soundtrack. Well, just in time for it to be exploited in the very same way, the technology now exists to beam sound right into your head. Strategy.com reports in an article entitled Death Ray Replaced by the Voice of God that the U.S. Navy is using non-lethal systems called LRAD, or Long Range Acoustic Device. This is being used right now in the Persian Gulf. Many small fishing and cargo boats ply these waters, and it's often hard to get the attention of the crews. With LRAD, you just aim it at a member of the crew and have an interpreter speak to the sailor. It was noted that the guy on the receiving end was sometimes terrified, even as he realized it was a large American destroyer that was talking to him. This apparently gave the Army guys some ideas, for there are now rumors in Iraq of a devilish American weapon that makes people believe they are hearing voices in their heads. And then there's the A&E television series called Paranormal State, which used a clever combination of a large billboard and cutting-edge technology to beam frightening ads directly into people who were walking near the show's billboard in the heart of New York City. The advertising website MediaBuyerPlanner.com writes in an article entitled Billboard Whispers into Pedestrians' Ears for A&E's Paranormal State that an ad for A&E's ghost-themed series Paranormal State uses technology to transmit an audio spotlight from the rooftop speakers in New York's Soho directly into the ears of passers-by. Here's a sample showcasing how this concentrated sonic beam works. There are literally dozens of patents dealing with ways of beaming sonic transmissions directly into people's minds. This was once called telepathy. Today it's just modern-day technology and advertising. Yes, I understand this sounds absolutely bizarre. Where's the proof? Where is it? We've recently seen Al Gore and Prince Charles appear in holographic form. But do we actually know of any such encounter we can attribute holographic technology as to having been used as part of a supernatural psyop.